Okay, welcome everybody to our Thursday night live for eoLIFE Hub. I'm super excited to have you guys hear from Krista Strayer tonight. Krista, she is solid. She has a heart of gold, and I have never seen somebody who can work so hard and get so many things done and do it in such a calm, peaceful manner. Like honestly, when I grow up, I want to be just like Krista. She is trained as a kids yoga teacher. And she's also a trainer who has trained teachers to use yoga and mindfulness in their classrooms and has great tools to share with all of the new homeschooling or at homeschooling, or I don't even know what to call this situation that we're in, right? But all of us that are now managing schooling stuff here at home. So Krista, I'm super excited to hear from you and just going to turn the time over to you.
Thanks, Rosie. And I don't know, I think I aspire to be as calm as you do and get as much done as you do in your day. So we could go for that. And I've had that comment before. People are like, oh, you're always so calm. Is it because you do so much yoga? It's like, you should see the inside, right? What's going on? But it's all good, right? We just, and part of the trick, I think, too, with dealing with our kids is that they need to think that too, that we are that calm on the outside and doing that. So welcome everybody. And as we get started, I'd love to hear post in the chat, whether it's on the Facebook or on the Zoom call, where you're from and what the biggest challenge is that you have right now with being home with the kids, right? So just kind of tap that in there and we will make sure as we're kind of going along that we're really making this useful for what's really real in your life right now. Because we've got lots of tools. Let me make sure I share the right stuff. And this is not actually going to be totally your typical Zoom call. A little bit of a warning. I believe strongly in experiential learning, so you will be moving and acting around a little bit. So if you have a little bit of space around you, feel free to do that. We're going to be getting into that in a few minutes. Not right away. All right. So the topic for today is giving some support for your kiddos that are at home, and because they're going through a lot of stress too, right? This has put them out of all of their routines, and they're probably going through a bit of a grieving process, some of them, with things that might have been canceled. I know my girls were in dance competitions for years, and this would have just broken their hearts if they got to this point and had worked so hard all year long and everything gets canceled, right? So that's a lot. So any kind of sports teams that have been going on and just missing their friends and their routine and that all those things that are important to them. So there's some grieving aspects going on for them too. And yeah, so we're just here to give you a whole toolbox of solutions for this new homebound family routine, and looking at the good of what this is, what we can take out of this as well. So let me just make sure I'm on the right thing. We have a giveaway for you from this class. So if you type this in, and this will be in the chat. Rosie's going to be my wonderful Vanna White and do some of the behind the things. She's able to manage this all on her own, but the rest of us maybe not so good. So she's going to type that link in for you to kind of follow up. And we have some handouts, and I'll tell you what those are as we go along. But there's a couple little cheat sheets that we have for you. And I'm just kind of reading this challenges, keeping them emotionally balanced and busy, right? The extroverts and the introverts, the kids are never on the same page, right? I always had one that was up and one that was down, and then it would flip. They're never like both up or they're both down at one time, right? And yeah, and balancing that, the work that you've got your life at home that just kind of got everybody just kind of came into your life, right? And so you're trying to balance the work and keep up with the schoolwork. And just have some time to be exactly to make use of this. That's wonderful. Okay, so that being said, we are going to talk about the kids oils today and what little gems that they are. And so if you have the kids oils kit, go ahead and grab your whole little kit. Mine is all like laid out in the order that we're going to use them because I'm kind of like that. But grab your kit if you have that. If you don't have that, grab a couple of your oils that give you some emotional balance. So grab something for calming, something that you like to use for grounding or for balance, so to speak. Some On Guard would be good for some strengthening and that type of protection. And one more that we need would be either like an Easy Air or an Aromatouch. That's a really important one. We'll touch on a few of them, but those are the three key: the grounding, Aromatouch, and calmer. Make sure you have those for when we jump into some actually moving around on that. And while you are kind of grabbing those, I'm going to just share with you a bit about myself and why I'm so passionate about this. And yeah, okay. So we're not going to go through everything on this one, but just grab a few of your oils that you like, and I'll tell you a little bit about me while you're doing that. Okay, so I have two beautiful girls that are no longer little kiddos anymore. They were when I first started doing yoga, and using yoga in classrooms. It was because, you know, that's where our life was. So they were my big inspiration on that. And I have a wonderful husband who is my steady. He's my grounding force. When I get all my crazy ideas, he's the one that kind of brings me back to reality. So I love him dearly for that. He kind of keeps us all on track. And then we have our little Toby, and he's our therapy, he's our comic relief, and he's the one who gets us out and moving every day, which is good. And I've been involved with doTERRA for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, and got a chance last year when we were traveling to actually go to Nepal. That's me with my doing a yoga pose, which is the lion pose there with the lion statue in Nepal. So lots of great things have come out of my life from using the oils. I started out my life kind of as an engineer. Actually, I was a pretty serious kid. Even though I had no idea at the time what an engineer was, I was a pretty serious kid. And actually, I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger. My dad was a teacher, and when we played, I was always a teacher. I think I was a little bit maybe bossy, as you could put that word in. But I just love to learn and love to share and love to do that right from a young age. And somewhere along the line, I ended up in engineering as my first start of my adult career. And then I did a 180 from that and ended up teaching kids yoga. And it was at a teacher training that I was leading for training kids yoga teachers that I got introduced to essential oils. And I was leading this kids training, and it was a little bit stressful. It was my first time doing it by myself. We used to have two teachers, and then with cutbacks at that time, we went down to one teacher. I had 20 people teaching all this curriculum by myself. And we have a group of yogis that I don't know if anybody's like familiar with yogis, but when you get a group together, there's always somebody that's got a digestive thing going on. There's always somebody with a ache in their body happening, and someone with a food intolerance happening. Someone's got a headache. There's always something in a group of yogis. Love them dearly. I am one, but there is always something. So I was leading this week-long training with these yogis out in the mountains, so dealing with all the food and accommodations and night hikes and all that kind of stuff. And there was this little angel in our group. One of our students just kept quietly going around the room, passing around these little brown bottles. And any guesses by anybody who this little angel might have been that was there with us? You guys can put your answers in, or you can unmute yourself if you're on the thing. And maybe we'll give a pat on the back to whoever can tell me who that was. And as she kept going along, I just kind of was on the periphery of my awareness. It's like, okay, that's really interesting. Don't have time right now, but that's really interesting. And at the end of the training, I cornered her and said, tell me more. What was that all about? And at the time, my girls were just going into their kind of their preteen years. So we didn't have our therapy dog yet at the time. So we had a lot that was going on emotionally in our house. And so I immediately seized on these oils to help us get through those years. And I don't know how we would have survived actually without those years, and with all of the hormone fluctuations and the emotions, and just all the ups and downs. My kids were competitive dancers. We would not survive without Deep Blue. In our house, we go through gallons and gallons of that even still. So I continued to teach kids yoga and do trainings, and I started to do a lot more work with teachers in their classrooms, with the belief that having yoga as a unit for 1 week out of the year is great, but way better if we can use it like in small amounts frequently. That's kind of how we use our oils, right? Small amounts frequently. Same thing applies to our oil. Zinto class for our yoga. And then once I started weaving more, doing some health coaching and that with teachers and parents, I started weaving the oils into the work that we were doing. And I found that it magnifies everything. So all these great things that we do, like yoga and mindfulness, you add an oil into that equation, and all of a sudden 2 + 2 is no longer 4. It's not even 5. It's like 10 or 20. And so it just amplifies the effects of all of the other things that we can do. So this has been my passion, is to share these tools and to help other um, health coaches and yoga teachers to really magnify what they're able to do in their careers with these as well. Okay, so hopefully you have your oils. That's a little bit about me. The goal of our class is to really to empower you, right? And so if you have your brave oil, go ahead and put that on, right? So put some of that brave oil on. You can put it on your wrists. You might be able to put that on your heart. So just kind of slather it in there. Give yourself that aroma, put it on your hands, breathe it in. Get to know that brave. If you don't have brave, you don't have that kids collection, passion is a wonderful oil for that. Cinnamon is really good. And even some wild orange is really good, just to bring that feeling of abundance and life to you. Those are some good choices that you can use if you don't have the kids collection yet. So we want you to be confident and capable to use the oils with your family, right? We want to have you feeling strong and in your capability to do that. We're going to go through the basics, so the 3 cool things, and in particular, how to use these with kids, right, and with your family. And then we're going to explore some natural solutions like yoga and mindfulness and oils, and add some of these tools into your toolbox. Now, I'm a firm believer that we look at things from a root cause perspective, as opposed to just kind of masking the symptoms, right? So we'll talk about different ways for this that we can, instead of just like slapping some band-aids and some quick fixes on, we want to be looking at those root causes and making those daily actions, those small little things that we can do that create real power in the end. So this is really what we're all about. And so the 3 cool things about essential oils. So if you've been on one of our calls before, you will know that the oils are safer. And when we talk about kids in particular, so we have this amazing tool with the doTERRA oils that they are 100% pure and natural. So I feel totally confident in using these on my kids safely, right? But when we talk about kids, we're going to talk about dilution. I'm going to get into that in a moment. And we're going to be careful of some of the hot oils. So cinnamon, really great oil of empowerment. We could put it on there for our courage blend, is a hot oil. So on kids, we wouldn't necessarily put that on meat. We'd want to add some coconut oil or something like that to do with that. That's an example of that one. They are effective, right? And so they go to that root cause. And I really love the way that the oils help kids connect to their intuition. Has anybody else found that kids naturally know what oil that they need? And so you can be confident as a mom that as you start to learn more yourself about what these solutions are, involve your kids in that, because they are really good at being able to connect that as well. So and I find, like, when I was a young mom, I was an engineer, right? I wasn't a nurse. I wasn't a teacher. I didn't have those skills. I was an engineer, so I felt completely kind of lost. You'd go to the doctor, and I didn't have the background for that, or I didn't feel like I had the background. And there's nothing worse than going to the doctors and finding things that are going against your mama's intuition, right? I had a doctor who loved to hand out prescriptions for antibiotics and things like that. And I knew in my heart that this wasn't really helping the situation, and it wasn't really addressing that root cause of what was going on. And so these tools between the oils and the yoga and the mindfulness have really helped me connect into and knowing when to trust what I know. And so that's why this is super effective for us. And they end up being super affordable, right? We talk about the oils that we just need a couple of drops, because the oils that we use are so pure and so potent that it's just pennies for what that can create a big difference in our family. We also get a great benefit. And what I love about some of the kids' oils is that they're diluted. And so we get to take advantage of some really great oils for a really reasonable price, right? So this little bottle of Stronger has frankincense and rose and Litsea, one we can't even get. And it's, $17, something like that, right? It's really, really an inexpensive way, a really affordable way to get some really powerful oils into your hands. So I love the kids' solutions for that as well. Okay, so let's dive into the three ways that we use essential oils, and in particular, in terms of the situation that we're in right now. So, aromatically, this is how we kind of think about when we're diffusing a situation, right? And so, I have these, preteen now grown up girls, and we have a little two-bedroom ski condo that we love to go to get away. And when we go out there, it's really crowded. Like we're big people in a small little place, and we have big emotions in this small little place. And my lovely grounded husband and my youngest, there's always those two that just like butt heads. They're too similar, right? And for years, or for quite often when we're out there, I will put peace in the diffuser. And when I do that, it's like, whoo, we have harmony within our house. And I could tell as soon as things started to go like this, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that diffuser just ran out. And within half an hour, it was like a key. It's like, whoa, that guy is empty and we need to replenish that. And then things would kind of cool and chill back out again. So total lifesaver on that. So peace is one of my favorite blends for that. But I also use, and I notice that when I'm sitting at my desk working, because I'm trying to work from home and my kids aren't little ones anymore, but I have bigger kids that are now all home from university, and they multiplied. So I have girls, and they brought with their other halves. So we now have the girls and the boys in the household. So it gets to be a lot of people. So trying to get my work done and focus on all this commotion that's going on, I am totally reliant on my diffuser. You can see it kind of pumping. I'm relying on it right now to keep myself kind of at equilibrium to share this with you guys tonight. But these are some little homework blends that I put together for some of the kids tools, some favorites of mine to kind of get the brain working. And this is going to be part of your handouts that go. So make sure that you signed up with that link that's in our chat box. If you have some favorite oils, feel free to share those in our chat as we're going along. Remember, this is experiential. I'm going to get you guys contributing and collaborating and helping each other out with that. So think of those kind of things. If you have a thinker blend or your favorite blend, adaptive is another one of mine that I love to use. So go ahead, take that oil. So sometimes I find the kids are like, Mom, enough with the oils, right? That they're not very receptive. Or sometimes it's just like, oh, Mom, really? And so in those situations, or this is a great tip for, if we were in classrooms again and you weren't allowed to diffuse in your classroom, you can be the diffuser for those kids. So quite often when I go into schools and work in schools, I can't be diffusing and that type of thing, but I will be that natural diffuser. So you just take your oils. I've got my thinker blend, place that one on your hand and just kind of rub it in. And great places to be that natural diffuser is like on the back of your neck for that, even up your arms, right? So that whenever you're in and around the kids, that you have that kind of that enveloping them as well. So thinkers are great homework helper blend. I love this one too. Has anybody else got this as a favorite? I love that one as we're going along here too. We're going to be like all rainbowed up by the end of the class. Okay. So yeah, so you can use yourself as that personal diffuser. You can have that diffuser going. Those are all super good tools for using these aromatically, and they do work. In the stress and hormones class week, or for the stress and sleep class, we go through really how that all affects in the brain. So make sure you catch that. We won't go through all the details on that one here tonight. Topical is another way, and we've already been using that with these roller bottles. And one of the things that we want to keep ourselves safe is the proper dilution. So when we're working with the real babies, it's just like in a roller bottle or something like this. It might be one drop is enough for that baby. It can be anywhere between 1 to 5 drops in there, right? But start with less. Less is always more. Start with that, and then you can always increase. It's harder to decrease after that, right? And then going up in the kids, you just slowly add until they get more potent as they go along. But even that little bits is really effective, right? So I find these kids oil blends to be super effective, partly because they've packed some like superpower oils in there. Some superhero oils have gone into those. So dilution is super key for us when we're using them topically. You could also dilute them just in your hand. If you're not looking to make up a roller bottle, you just need a couple drops. Just put your oil, a little bit of fractionated coconut oil. Any oil that's safe for cooking is safe to put on your skin. So it could be olive oil, it could be, I love avocado oil is one of my favorites to use that because it's fairly unscented and so it doesn't like change what the aroma is. And then you can use that to place it on your child's back for that. This little chart I love, and I didn't make it up. I found this resource. This is just some like the little cheat sheet as to where to put things, right? And so if you were to take your little stronger oil, it would tell us that this might be a really good one for along the back. They actually have rescuer in there, but I like this, the stronger one down along the back or on the bottoms of your feet, right? So if you're looking for some immune boosting, that's a really good one there. So if you want to boost your immune system, you could take your On Guard, roll it as far down your spine as you can get to in there, or place that on the bottoms of your feet, and all sorts of little things. This is going to be part of your little handout that we're sending out at the end of the class as well. Super cute, I know, and works for adults as well as the kiddos. Okay. All right. So internally is the third way that we use our oils, that they're super effective for us. And having right now, having a daily dose of On Guard is super effective. It's super, just as an everyday kind of a thing. This is one I do all year long. I make sure I have my daily dose of On Guard. And I have one of my daughters that's like super cool into the oils with me. And my other one is a little bit, some days yes, some days no. My husband's a little, same thing. So it's really interesting when certain seasons go along, the cold and flu seasons kind of go along. There's two of us in our household that don't get sick, and there's two that will. And so it's pretty clear as to what's working and what's not working. So I just always, it's just part of my daily routine. At On Guard, I have some every day. You can put it into oatmeal. You can put it into yogurt. You can mix it in with the kids' foods that way. If your kids don't do On Guard, there's other really great immune boosting oils, like even lime or wild orange can be really immune boosting. And so just kind of slipping that in wherever you can. When we talk about internal, we also have some great nutritional supports. So A to Z multivitamin and the IQ Omega, super, super important. I was just doing a stress and brain health one, stress and sleep one support yesterday. For stress and stuff, omega-3s are huge, right? For growing kids and their bodies and their developing brains. Really, really good. And it's going to be a sanity saver for you as well during this period. It's just that helps everything just kind of work better when we have that. And the same with the PB Assist. I'm an Ayurvedic health coach, and so we would believe strongly everything begins in the gut. So if you can be solving some of those gut issues that are going on, that's going to help everything just work emotionally as well within your house. So super important to do that. So type in the chat. Here's another little question for you, whether it's on Facebook or the Zoom. What oils will your kids eat? Do you have a favorite one, or is there an oil that they absolutely won't eat? But what oils are their favorites or your favorites to use with your kids? We'll compile a little list of the kids' favorites. And here's some ways that you can pop it into food. Popcorn, right? How fun is that to have a little bit of, On Guard in that, or your cinnamon, or there's all different sorts that we can, add into that one. Lime Jello, right? I'm not a huge fan of the whole Jello thing, but if you've got an essential oil in there, it's gonna counteract those detox, interactions with that. So super fun. And having a drop in water, right? It's, I find kids love this. I do like little diffuser bracelets parties for kids' birthdays, and we start off with putting the oils in the water so they can kind of get a feel for what they do. And the kids just love being able to add their drop in. Quick fun, or the safety tip on that is put the oil in first and then the water so it mixes up. It isn't very stingy on your tongue. All right. Oh, I love that. Stacy's got some suggestions there that Breathe, Geranium, Rose, and Serenity are the ones that her daughter grabs most often for her favorite oils. Wild Orange in a green smoothie. Love that one. Yeah. I like peppermint in my green smoothies too. There's a really good peppermint shamrock shake one that's really yummy. My kids love that. Lemon and grapefruit, super popular with the kids. Lime, I find kids just love the lime. Has been my favorite. Oh, anyone you've had too much popcorn, right? Tamer. Tamer has lots of great digestives, whether it's Tamer or the adult version, which is your Zen Jest in Canada or Digest Zen in the US. I'm going to make you guys, you ask people become multilingual like we in Canada have to do with our blend names. So tamer is tamer, but Zengest and digest Zen is in Canada. We just do everything backwards, right? So really great one. So if you have had too much dinner tonight, if you're running a little bit, rub some of this. So topically on your belly is a great one for that. And Ayurvedically, these herbs like really stand up. And those are the ones that we would be recommending. But the beautiful part with essential oils is they work so fast compared to the dry herbs, and you just don't need very much, right? So it's so affordable and effective that way. Okay, you guys ready to move? I'm going to slide my chair back, and we're going to talk about some other tools that we have. So give me a second while I slide that back, slip my desk up so I can still see you while I'm standing. And we're going to talk about some tools here that we get to, that were super fun tools that are within your reach, right? To make things go really, really smoothly with your kids. So we're going to talk about some yoga and some mindfulness. And of course, we're going to weave our little essential oil magic in to like magnify the effects of all of this. So yoga is simply movements that get energy flowing in the body, right? So that's just really there. And it's simple movements typically. So when we're looking at managing our emotions, I have a little simple formula that I love to use with kids that kind of shifts the energy. So if you've got kids that are feeling just kind of like lethargic, they've had too much, screen time, whatever that is, you can't get them going. Or if you've got kids at the other end of the spectrum, this is going to bring them in together and shift them both so that if you do have to sit down and do some of that, homework or schoolwork, or you want to even just like have a decent meal together or whatever that is, to do something fun together, this is going to help you to do that. So the simple formula of how we do that. And so certain poses in yoga do certain things. If you've ever been to a yoga class, you might notice that there's kind of a little bit of a sequence, that your teacher kind of has a little bit of a pattern that things flow in. Typically, when you get to yoga class, your brain just kind of goes into that la la land, and you may not notice this at all. But there is, next time you go, you'll notice that there is kind of a sequence to how we lay these things out. And it's because different movements in our body actually stimulate either the active system, like active nervous system, or that calming nervous system. And they're stimulating the different energy channels within the body to bring the energy up and to bring it down. So I'm going to give you kind of like a little yoga teacher training 101 in like the next, 10, 15 minutes here as we go along. Okay. Let me go into this. So step number one in our little thing, and we, because we learn in threes, we have 3 steps. Okay, so number one, I've got an extra step I sometimes slip in here, but to keep it simple tonight, we're going to go with 3. So number one is release. We want to release that emotion, and whether it's feeling stuck, we want to have that release, or whether it's like way too much, we want to get that release going. So to do our release, I'm going to have you grab your rescuer blend. Okay, so either rescuer or easy air works really well for this, or Aromatouch. I love for this one. This one we're going to place on our chest, right? So you can always like put it on your hand. I got a lot going on my hand right now, so I'm just going to take this one directly onto my heart space, onto my chest. And we're going to be using, so I love to do this in yoga classes, kids or adults, because now your body becomes the diffuser. So as you start to move, you start to release even more of that oil around you. So rescuer on the heart is going to like rescue that emotional stuck state. And now we're going to get it moving. So quite often in a yoga class, you'll do some of your breathing work. Actually, we're going to do that first before I get you moving. We're going to do a little check-in. And then we're going to all of a sudden kind of ramp up the movement within the body. So it's kind of safe for us to do some stretches and also just to kind of get that release moving. So to do our check-in, you take your hands and just kind of rub them in together. If you're wearing glasses, you may want to take them off for this one. If you have just been outside and haven't, touching other things outside of your zone and you haven't washed your hands, you're going to keep your hands well away from your face for this. If you've got a bunch of oils on your hands, you're also going to keep them a little ways away from your eyes. Okay, nice warm hands, and just cup your hands over your eyes. Close your eyes and go inside. And just start to notice your breath. Take a couple breaths, just notice it. Take a nice deep breath out. Nice long, slow breath in. And just go inside and just notice, what do you feel right now? What does your breath feel like? Is it quick? Is it relaxed? Is it smooth? Is it jagged or rough? Just notice what your energy is like right now. Are you feeling kind of slow and low and kind of tired? It's getting late for some of us. Are you feeling like super like revved up and got lots of energy? I'm going to have you show me with your hands, or you can show me in the chat box, what is your energy like? So if it's slow and low, it might be like a 1 or 2. If it's kind of just your usual in the middle, it might be a 3. Or if it's kind of on that higher zone, it might be a 4 or a 5. So you just slowly open up your eyes and show me with your hands. Oh, I got a 3 going up there. You can show me just kind of what that feels like for you right now. And then we're just going to do some check-ins as we go along. And you might just notice, what did that just little closing out the outside world, what did that do for you already? Oops, I just realized I got fancy on my slides. And then of course I forget to do the fancy part. See how I'll slide in. So Rescuer is this blend that's got copaiba, lavender, spearmint, and something called xanthoxylum, which I did look up when I was researching all these kids' oils. And so it's a really interesting blend for rescuing our emotions, right? So a lot of these same oils, we'll find them in our adaptive blend, perhaps, or in these oils that we use for our stress relief. So super, super helpful. Oh, and the xanthoxylum is one that's like a pain release one. So it's really good for pain and inflammation within the body. It's a treat. And that's where that one comes from. Okay, so we don't necessarily, I don't have enough room to do sun salutations here, and you may not either. So I'm going to do a pose that I love to use with kids, and it's like sun salutations on steroids. And it's called ladder climbing. And it is like a brain balance thing. We're going to be doing different things on the one side of the body and the other. That's another little secret tip. And it's just super fun. So you can take one hand up, and then your opposite leg comes up. You can't quite see my knee. There it is. And then you're going to do the other side, and then to the one side, and then to the other side, and then starting to go. And I'm going to trust you guys that you're doing this with me, and you're going to go from one to the other to the other. Then I want you to show me how fast you can go. Speedy, speedy, speedy. And then I want you to slow it into slow motion. Give me your slow-mo. And then as fast as you can go. And slow-mo. Fast and slow. Fast and slow. Okay, and stop and just put your hand on your heart. And just kind of check in and just feel how that feels when that energy comes up. And then how are you going to check in again? Just you can put your hands over your eyes, or just close your eyes with your hands there on your heart. Just notice what your energy and your breath is doing now. Right? So if you were like a 1 or a 2, you're probably not there anymore. If you were like a 5, you might be a 10. But that's okay, because we're going to fix that. So we've kind of brought that level of energy up. We've released some of that energy, right? Some of those extra sillies, we just need to let them go. We can't like just kind of put the stopper on it, right? When there's so much energy bubbling up, you just have to have that release and let it go. Other poses that are really good would be like elbow to knee is a really great one to be doing, or you can do hand to foot behind you, use opposite hand and foot is a really fun one. Or just like shaking like jelly, where you just like shake your body all around is super fun too. Okay, oh yeah, easy air is one for adults. So the second step is to balance, right? And so when we balance on one foot, it's super, super good for our focus. Because when you're balancing on one foot, you can't think about anything else, or you fall over, right? Actually, if you balance on your head in your headstand, that's even better, but a little more contraindicated when we're working with kids. So balancing on one foot is super, super effective for this. And so what oil do you think we should use? Steady, right? Steady or balance. Anything with trees is really rooted down. So those are all good ones. So if you have some of that, go grab some. And I'm going to have you put this one on the bottom of your feet. Just kind of give it a little roll into the bottom of your feet. Excellent. And then we're going to come into our balance poses. And I think I've got a balance coming up there. Yeah. All right. So super, super magical. And I'm going to run through, let's do all 3 of these. We won't hold them very long. So eagle pose, arms go up in front, Cross your arms over and then bring your hands up. They might stop there so you can kind of see your face in between there. Maybe the backs of your hands touch, maybe the fronts of your hands touch. Now look what arm is on top and your opposite leg starts to curl over. So just like that little girl there, it can be pointed back behind you, or if you're super flexible, it might even wrap all the way around your calf, okay? So that's our eagle pose. Eagle pose is excellent when you're hugging everything in. If you've got so much energy, you just want to hug it all in and squeeze it in tight. This is like really good if you've got a lot going on in a day. This is how like I start my day, right? Just to kind of like hug everything in to begin with, right? Maybe that's why Rosie thinks I'm so calm. Good. So now, special trick. If you can do all these three without putting your foot down. So from eagle, we're going to go into stork. So one hand lifts up and the opposite knee. This is a great kids yoga pose that we do. It's also a yoga for golfers pose. So I make my adults do this one too, right? And then with the kids, you might add in some focus. So going, counting in that or something like that. And then from here, we're going to move into tree. So your leg just shifts and you can either have your toe on the ground, foot on the calf. You don't put your foot on the knee, so it's either below the knee or above the knee. And then you can take your hands there to your heart or all the way up overhead, right? So taking a couple nice deep breaths. I love tree pose with our essential oils because you really feel that grounding aspect of the tree. You kind of bring in that feeling of being in the woods with this one. Good. Okay, nice deep breath in. Bonus points if you could do all that with one without putting your foot down. Let's do the other side. So foot comes up, over to the side. Let's go backwards. Let's start with tree. So coming into your tree pose, finding your heart space. Good. And then taking your arms out wide. And let's see if we can count in this one to 5 in Spanish. So uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So adding in that little element of counting helps kids focus and stay more steady in this one as well. Okay, stork. So your legs in front, hands out front. Another good tip is just to find something to stare at, something that's not moving. So don't you look at your child and your child look at you, because then you'll both be kind of going like this, right? So find something stationary to stare at. Sometimes I'll put a little stuffy. When I teach yoga classes with kids, we're always in a circle. So I'll put a stuffy in the middle that people can stare at, right? A little bird or something like that in the middle. So that's a really good focal point to use for that, or you can stare at a wall. And then the other one is if you stare at the ceiling, that's even like challenging your balance even further. Okay, then from this one, we're going to go into eagle. So you're going to wrap that leg around, opposite arm goes on top, and hopefully you have the opposite side going on this one. From the last one, it should be, if you switch towards, we should be all good. This blend, this steady blend, has amaryllis, balsam, coriander, and magnolia in it. So really, really good oils, for some really powerful oils there for working through our emotions. And coriander is a great one for just that whole digesting emotions and kind of staying grounded and steady. Good. Okay. And then move it all out, shake it all out. So there's our balance. And let's just do a check-in. So again, you can have your hands on your heart, you can close your eyes, you can have your hands over your eyes, whatever works for you. And just notice where your energy is at now. It's probably shifted a fair bit from after the ladder climbing. Right here, it feels just more, it's likely like not totally low, but just calm and steady, right? Kind of usable, really focused energy. So really usable energy for that. And I have one last little step, and this is to relax. So what oil do you think we should use for relax? We've got a few good ones in our toolkit, right? But we have on the kids side, we have Calmer. And on the adult side, we have Serenity or Lavender or Chamomile. Any of those are vetiver, really good ones. The kids one has Lavender, Kananga, Buddha Wood, Roman Chamomile in there. And I always remember PJ saying Roman Chamomile is like her desert island oil because it just chills everything out. It does so much for us. So that's one of my new favorites. Okay, so at the end of a yoga class, you might notice that your teacher always makes you do these things called forward bends, right? Before you get to relax in your shavasana. What forward bends do is they stimulate the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve goes right from your brainstem, so that fight or flight, and goes down through your spine, through your diaphragm, your digestive system, right, all the way down, kind of I think up and onto your feet. So whenever we do a forward bend, you're stimulating the vagus nerve, which is connected to the parasympathetic system. This always confuses me. You're stimulating the parasympathetic, which calms us down. And so these are poses that calm us down and help us to relax. So super good poses. So anytime you fold your body over, so whether you're reaching for your toes, standing or sitting, either one works. Anytime that you're kind of just folding your chin down, so tucking your chin down towards your chest, you're actually stretching through the back of the neck, again, stimulating that vagus nerve, and it induces that relaxation response. So super, super effective poses. I could tell you all kinds of stories when I've been in schools where the kids were all crazy, and these were like my best friends, these poses. And now if you add your little oil into that, so these are really good to do before bed, or when you just need to calm things down and then really get to work. So I'm going to have us do a forward fold, going into the ragdoll. So deep breath in, nice and tall, and then deep breath out, reaching down towards your toes. Good, just holding it down there for a couple of deep breaths. And then you can just slowly, slowly wind yourself back up again. Good. So just noticing where you're at, take that moment of just like feeling that. And I think we forgot, I don't know if I forgot to put my calm oil on. Did you guys do that? So you could, a really good place to put the calm oil, I love, is the back of the neck. So it's connecting right to that brainstem. Pulse points is another really good one. And bottoms of your feet, right, are really good for that calming, grounding action again. Okay, so just take a moment. Just check in with how you feel. And just notice if that worked for you. Was it fun for you, right? Is it something that's easy enough that you could incorporate into your day? Okay. And so mindfulness is another aspect of that. And I kind of cheated. We've been doing mindfulness the whole time that we were doing our little session. We kind of were weaving it all the way in. So anytime we did that check-in, that we're just going inside and just connecting that aspect of awareness, we can call that mindfulness. Other great ways to do this is actually to do some deep breaths. So you might put that calm oil on, put it on your hands, and have your kids just breathe in for a couple deep breaths. Another one I love to do with my kids is just counting. Can you breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Right? And so this again, using their hands to count, gives them that focus. And just having that minute of silence when we were tuning out things or going into this lovely little lady here in child's pose, super, super effective for tuning out all of that stimulation. So if you've had too much screen time, if you've had too much siblings or families or whatever, this is really good. Works for moms and dads too, right? Just to have that moment of peace. So our timeouts become our tune in times. So maybe it's calmer that you use for those. It might be rescuer, it might be peace, but model this as a mom that you can do a tune in to, right? By putting your oils on and breathing that through. And so the more you can model it, the more your kids will, just start to do it on their own. They may even come up sometimes and hand you an oil when you need to take that tune in moment. Okay. So another one of the tools in my toolbox is the doTERRA supplements. And I have to admit, I was never a supplement girl. It took me a long time. If anybody has guessed by now, the little angel that introduced me to oils was Dawn Bem. And these, somehow she talked me into the big kit because I needed a lot of help. And they had these ones in there. And kind of the whole makeover your lifestyle, that's where I started. And that's kind of my philosophy. But I had these little supplements in there. I think it took her 2 years for me to actually crack the bottles open. And I kept complaining, my energy is low. I just can't focus or think. And she's like, have you tried those yet? And then we, chat again next month. Have you tried those yet? And finally, I was looking all over the city for ashwagandha, one of these really cool Ayurvedic herbs. And lo and behold, I could not find it in any health food stores, but I found it in here. And this has been my sanity saver for keeping my energy up and keeping my brain focused and all of that. So super, super effective on that. Just like the kids' supplements for them are super effective, this is effective for us as a mom, right? So it's kind of clear thinking, reduces your aches and pains, Teenagers and acne, really, really good. Mental health, it all begins in the gut there, right? So help your day go better by not taking 2 years to try yours, right? As you go through. So think about a couple things that are going on. We had some good suggestions of what's happening, and think about a few of the recommended protocols that we've talked about. Some of the oils that are enhancers for what we're doing, maybe a couple yoga poses that you found along the way that you want to jot down in there as well. It all works, right? And they all work really well together. Yeah, Rosie's saying that she couldn't imagine life without the lifelong vitality back. It is like every once in a while you forget to take it, and it's just like, why is my day going sideways? It's like, oh yeah, I didn't do that this morning. I have a little tip for that actually, because I have consistency is like number 33 out of my 34 strengths. So it's like totally terrible. So remembering to take them is really, really hard for me. So I have a pretty little dish. It's like a tiny little, fancy little dish. And I start to prep my oils. So in the morning, when I do my bulletproof coffee, I do my Terrazyme and my Mina 2 Max, right? And then I put the ones out for breakfast. And so whenever I get around to having breakfast later, I'll see that and it's like, oh yeah, I got to take those. And if I've forgotten by lunchtime, I'll see it and it's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to take those because they're sitting there. I have to take them. When I take that batch, I put the next batch in that pretty little dish. I'll put the dinner time oils in. And so hopefully between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I've got 3 chances to get those 2 in there. And if I see the dish sitting there, it reminds me. And then it's also one of those things like, did I take it or not take it? And then you kind of like don't take it because you're not sure. Now I know. And I have different ones. So I do my probiotics in the evening. And so I know if the probiotics are there, then that's my dinner time oils. And if my turmeric's in there, then I know that's, or my deep blue is, then I know that's my first batch of oils. So my little consistency tip. Okay, let's move on from that. Hopefully you had a chance to do that. Make sure that you have signed up for that. You're in that little giveaway. You have the dilution chart, the diffuser blends, and what was the other thing? Oh, the little picture of the girl and where to put them. So that is for anybody who's been watching or anyone who's here live or who's watched the recording before the end of Saturday. That gets all sent out to you. Okay. All right. So we have 3 ways, go check my time, how fast I have to talk with you guys here. We have 3 ways to purchase the oils retail, which is kind of the most expensive. So typically if you go to your massage therapist or something, they might have some oils there, or the yoga studio, they'll be selling the oils. But that's not only the most expensive, but it doesn't empower you the same way as having the ability, just especially right now, just to kind of like get the oils when you need them, right? So I love that empowerment factor. Plus, we have so many supports when you remember within our group in terms of things that we can do to optimize how the oils are working for you. So wholesale is when you get a membership, and it's just like Costco. There's no like strings attached. There's no, I think, any extra things that go on there, but it enables you to get 25% off for a whole year of your purchases. There is a renewal fee, but when you go to renew, they send you peppermint oil, which is with the same value. So it's a really, really generous company and how they affect all of those things. And then there's actually a below wholesale, which is super awesome. And that's when sometimes they'll bundle some oils together, or if you find that you're using things on a daily basis or a monthly basis, they have a super, super loyalty rewards program that you actually get to save even more than the 25%, which is amazing. And so it makes those oils even more affordable. So this was the kit that I started with that has the lifelong vitality, the supplements already in it. It has a beautiful little diffuser. There's a couple differences between the US kit and the Canadian kit. This one I believe is the US. In Canada, we actually have the cleaner concentrate that comes in ours. There must be something, oh, we're missing the On Guard soft gels. There's a couple little tweaks in them, but you get this beautiful little wood case to keep your oils in. And it comes with these top 10 oils plus a few extras that are really good supports for your system, plus everything you kind of need to kind of eliminate the toxins from your day-to-day life, which also augments some of the emotional upheaval and the complaints within our bodies, right? The toxins are one of our key things. So this is a really good kit if you wanted to like get started with and just like assume this whole natural lifestyle. This is another lovely kit that has the adaptive, the mental health one in it, and the copaiba, which are 2 of my top favorite oils. It has the balance in there we were talking about for our steady and our balancing. So it's a great, and it has this kind of a fun little diffuser here, the petal diffuser. This is a great value. And then this one here has slightly smaller bottles. These ones here are 15 ml, so they're the full size bottles, except for the deep blue. And then this one here, they're all 5 ml. So they're smaller bottles and a cute little diffuser though. So really good for getting those kind of that first aid toolbox into your home of being empowered with the solutions that you need for the family. So I love this little one to get started for my customers. The benefit of using a kit is that the membership fee is included. So not only when they do the kits, they bundle the pricing. So if you add up all of those individually, it would be quite a bit more than when they bundle it together. Plus, you don't have to pay the membership fee, which is super sweet, right? A Healthy Habits Kit is one that is available in the US, and hopefully, I heard a rumor that we're going to be getting this one in Canada really, really soon. So that would be wonderful, as it gives you just those basics that you need to get started with. Another way to do it is to just kind of create your own custom kit. So you can pay the membership fee, which is 35 in the US or 42 in Canada, and then you add into your cart what you need. And so if you are like loving this little kids collection kit, this is a great way to do that. You can do the membership fee, get that kids collection. And then I would suggest, because the kids collection is like 95 PV in Canada or 90 PV in the States, there's a benefit to having 100 PV, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. So you might want to add on something to slip in, like to take. You can't use these ones internally because they're all in roller bottles, right? And they're diluted. But you might want to take a lemon or an adaptive as a mom, or you might want to add on those kids multivitamin style stuff. That's a really good add-on to that. So that's one way that you can do it as well. The 100 PV magic number is because we have an opportunity right now within our team to get some free oils. Oopsies. And we get that by, we can get the 2 oils that you could get for free is Citrus Bliss, which is a really beautiful oil for kind of like, for boosting your immune system. It's got some citrus things in there. It's also really good for just affecting the mood within your house. It's another one like peace. It's a really, really happy oil. And adaptive is just amazing. I use adaptive just like all the time in our house. It is really was created for stress and anxiety and overwhelm and all of these heavy feelings that we might be feeling right now. So it's really effective I use it in my diffuser a lot when I'm working for clear thinking, and just helping me not be so reactive in my day. Really good for that. So you get the Citrus Bliss if you're a new customer signing up. If you have 100 PV enrollments, that's where we're going to tack on a little bit from that kids kit. Then you get this as your bonus oil for that. And if you have a 300 PV kit, so that first initial kit where you're going to adopt the whole lifestyle, you get both adaptive and Citrus Bliss for free. So those are super a great little bonus that we have. And just reach out to the person who invited you or to sent you this video to watch, and they can tell you more about that. We have several people on our team that qualify for Diamond Club. And so this webinar counts as a training. So within 3 days of watching this, you get to have that benefit as well. And we can kind of tap you into that. I have another little benefit for the team. And Rosie, I apologize, I didn't run this by you. I didn't tell you what this, but I have a special program for people on our team. If you liked this little yoga tools, I've packaged a lot of the things that I teach teachers to do in the classroom. I've packaged them together and made it for the home classroom. And I've added woven some essential oil love in that. So that is a program that I'm offering out right now. And if you have signed up with a 100 PV kit, or have placed your 100 PV loyalty order on your team, reach out to your upline and they will get you a code that you can participate in this for free, right? So it's a great, just a great resource. And all I want to do is get these tools out there for mamas to be able to use this. And it's really good for preschoolers all the way up to grade 6. We have a variety of activities, and every day you get like a new little refresher in of different, transitions or calming or games or just different things like that. All right. We have 3 types of people that typically kind of tune in to this class and that like to hang out here with us. And the first type of person is really excited to live that natural solutions lifestyle. They love to approach things. They want to get started approaching things from the root up instead of just kind of tweaking away and adding band-aids on. And when they learn about the power of essential oils and how they make their other wellness tools like yoga mindfulness even more effective, they can't wait to share these with their family and to get started in making a real difference in your home health. And doTERRA supports this type of person by providing free monthly essential oil education, like this webinar that we're on today. And we have several other training programs as well on our team and through doTERRA that are available to help you use the oils really effectively with your family. The second type of person is sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, my mom needs this, my sister needs this, and my girlfriend, I just got to send her one of those right away. And doTERRA, you just like naturally want to share, right? You just, when you learn something new, you just naturally want to teach that and share that out. And doTERRA supports this type of person through a really generous reward system. And so as you consistently share with your friends and your family and share that love around, you can start to get your oils paid for. And we call this the doTERRA Free Natural Healthcare. And there's thousands and thousands of people all over the world right now who are currently receiving this free natural healthcare from doTERRA. And the third type of person who watches this, who's been kind of watching what we're doing here and thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to change people's lives by educating people about the power of these oils, right? And these oils can help so many people. How do I get this out there? So doTERRA rewards this type of person through an incredibly generous compensation plan. And as people kind of educate others about the power of essential oils, you can earn enough to supplement or even replace your current income. So you can become financially free and have the time and resources to really make a difference to those things that are valuable to you. Okay. So get back to the person who invited you. If you haven't already got started with oils, get back to them and just text them and check in and see, from your list of what challenges you're facing, they'll help you match up what's the best way for you to get started right now. And if you don't have that person on your team, just reach out to me and we'll get you connected and help you go through that. So my phone number is there. And if you want, just more ideas and tips and stuff on kids yoga, feel free to text me on that one as well. So the next step is really, really exciting in this particular time. All my clients are like, I've got mail. It's really super exciting to get that mail coming in. So your oils are going to arrive, and it's pretty quick on how they get there. And as soon as they get there, you'll sit down to the person who invited you and has kind of got you going on this, your key support person, and they're going to do a wellness consult, and they're going to walk you through how to use those oils. Because right now it's like a lot of information. And by the time they get here, it's like, oh, I totally forgot what she said. So we're going to like make that daily plan and kind of write it out and get it all clear for how to get started really simply, right? You don't have to do it all in one day. So what is like the first simplest step? And your person is going to help you do that. And then we're going to tap you into some continuing education classes. And we have a really cool program called Oil Camp, right? Just like kids go to camp, you get to go to camp. And we have all sorts of online learning opportunities to get to know how to use these oils super effectively for you. We have a Facebook support group and all sorts of great things like that. So use your oils with your kids, share your oils, and share your oils with the kids, or have the kids share their oils with you, because these ones are really, really fun. Share them outside your family because people are needing solutions right now, and teach others about what the power of these can do for your friends and your family, right? And for your family. Next week, super excited. I'm super excited because Rosie is going to be teaching on women's health and hormone balance and some of those things. So I'm really keen to learn what Rosie has to say on that. That's definitely an area that I need to step into more. So join us next Thursday, same time, same place. And Rosie's going to share her wisdom with us. And tomorrow at 10 Pacific or 11 Mountain, we have what's called a water cooler session. And it's just a super casual chat. It's not recorded. It's just, we come onto a Zoom link like this, and everybody kind of shows their picture and unmutes, and we get to share. So you get to, like last week we talked about, what's in your diffuser right now, what's keeping you sane right now, and different things like that. So super fun to be able to just interact and bring your questions, bring, an oil that you have never used and like, what do I do with this? Or bring your favorite oil that you love to share. And we just get to hang out together. So that is super fun on that too. Okay, so before we end, don't forget to click on that link to get your handouts coming through for you there. And we'll open it up for any questions. And I think Rosie's going to take control back from me. I'm going to stop the share.